Drift with me, star dreamer. Let go of the day for a moment. The sky's been waiting, not for answers, just for company. Up here, the stars don't ask anything of you. They just glow. They just are. That's how we'll move tonight, gently, quietly, through a story you don't need to hold on to. Just let it pass through you, like moonlight across still water. If that feels right to you, feel free to join us again, but no pressure. This space is always here, whenever you need a softer kind of wonder. Welcome. You have found a quiet place in a restless universe.
Out here, beneath the hush of stars, I've been thinking about a question. A quiet little thought that arrived one night and never really left. What if the universe could hear you? Not in the way people hear, not like sound moving through air, but in some quiet, cosmic way. What if every feeling, every whisper of hope or fear drifted out into the dark, and something out there noticed? It's a strange thought, I know, but maybe that's what makes it feel so gentle, so human. You sit on the edge of your bed, maybe by a window, maybe just inside your own mind, and you think something, not even words, just a shape of a feeling, a little ache, a little wish. You don't speak it out loud, but still, maybe it goes somewhere. Out past the rooftops, past the clouds, into that soft velvet dark. And what if the universe listens? Not like a person would, not with answers or logic, just with presence. Maybe it doesn't answer with thunder or signs, but with quiet timing, with the way things sometimes fall into place. The right person calling at the right time. A sunrise that feels like it waited for you. A small coincidence that somehow says, I heard you. I was here. The universe is quiet, yes, but silence isn't the same as absence. Not all silence is empty. Sometimes it feels like the stars themselves are watching, not judging, not planning, just noticing. Existing with you, being with you. I used to think about light a lot, about how it leaves a star and travels for years, decades, centuries, sometimes longer than we've existed, just to land gently on a face like yours. That's not just science, that's something else too. It's like a reminder that time doesn't erase everything, that some things travel far, very far, just to arrive exactly when they're meant to. So if light can do that, maybe our thoughts can too. Maybe you don't need to shout into the void to be heard. Maybe the whisper is enough. Maybe wishing for peace sends out a ripple. Maybe sorrow does too. Maybe the universe is always listening. Not always answering, not always fixing, but listening in its own way. There's something comforting about that. Not magical, just comforting. Because life gets loud, people get tired, the world forgets to slow down. And in the middle of all that noise, it's easy to feel like what you feel doesn't go anywhere. But what if it does? What if every small act of kindness, even the ones no one sees, leaves a trace? Not in history books or memory, but in some deeper place, a quiet ledger kept in the folds of time. Not for reward, not for fame, just because the universe holds everything, even the soft things. I like to imagine that somewhere, far off in space, there are waves of feeling moving gently through the dark, like music with no sound. Maybe they pass through nebulae, pick up colors, drift past comets, slip through the light of distant stars.
Maybe they mix with the echoes of other people's thoughts. You wouldn't know it, but maybe someone far away wished something at the same time you did. Maybe your hopes brushed past each other out there, like leaves touching in the wind. It doesn't matter if it's true, not really. What matters is how it feels. And for me, it feels like connection, a soft kind. The kind that doesn't ask for anything in return. Sometimes we speak just to let something go. And sometimes letting go is the loudest way we speak. Maybe the universe feels those moments. Maybe it catches them, keeps them safe. Even sadness, especially sadness. There's a weight to it that's hard to carry. And sometimes we don't want to give it to anyone else. We keep it quiet, we hold it in. But what if you could give it to the stars? What if they could hold it better? After all, they've seen everything. They've burned quietly for billions of years, watching galaxies rise and fall, dust become planets, silence become song. Maybe they have room for a little more. Maybe they don't fix it. Maybe they don't send back answers. But maybe they just listen. The way a friend would on a night when you can't sleep, when you don't need advice, just company. That kind of listening. Maybe it's not about getting something back. Maybe it's about not being alone in the asking. The universe is made of particles, yes, but also patterns, movement, rhythm. It remembers things in shape and echo, in energy passed from one form to another. So maybe your voice, in its softest form, adds to that pattern. And maybe that's enough. Sometimes I wonder if that's why we look up when we're lost, not just out of habit, but because something in us remembers that we're part of all that, the stars, the dark, the endless motion. We don't always say it out loud, but maybe we're asking something. Are you there? Can you hear me? And maybe, in its own way, the universe answers back. Not with words, not even with signs really, just with presence, a soft kind of yes. The kind you feel, not hear. Like the way gravity doesn't ask if you're falling, it just catches you. There's something beautiful about how space works. It's full of silence, and yet nothing stands still. Even in the darkest corner of the cosmos, particles jitter and shift. Photons keep going. Time keeps folding forward. Nothing is ignored. Everything moves. So maybe your thoughts move too, not just inside your head, but out. Maybe your feelings stretch into the dark like gentle threads, unseen but real. And maybe they change things, just a little. Maybe the shape of your hope shifts the wind somewhere you'll never go. Maybe your kindness helps tilt a moment for someone else. Not directly, not obviously, but enough. Enough to matter. We like to think things need to be loud to be heard, but in the universe, the quiet things last longer. Light from a single star can travel for billions of years. It never raises its voice, but it reaches farther than anything else. Maybe your quiet matters more than you think.
Maybe what you feel in the dark isn't a void looking back, but a mirror. Not one that shows your face, but your presence, your effect. Because everything in the universe has an effect. Even the tiniest particle has gravity. Even the faintest pulse can ripple outward. So maybe when you send out a wish, when you say, "I hope," or "I miss you," or "I don't know what to do," maybe the universe shifts around it. Not to fix things, not like magic, but just to acknowledge it, to make space for it. Like a tree leaning slightly toward the sun, not because it has to, but because it can. That's what I think of sometimes when I lie awake. All the things I've thought and felt floating quietly past the moon, curling through the dark, carried on nothing but the possibility of being known. Not by someone, just known. And maybe it's not about being heard by something out there. Maybe it's about hearing yourself, letting yourself speak in a way that feels real, letting the silence reply in kind. There's a kind of peace in that. The way the night holds your breath, the way the stars don't interrupt, the way the dark never asks you to explain, just lets you be. We don't always get that down here. On Earth, everything moves fast. People ask for answers. Noise fills the gaps. But space doesn't rush you. It waits. Not patiently, not impatiently, just endlessly. And maybe that's enough to feel safe in it. Maybe being small isn't scary. Maybe it's gentle. You're one voice among so many, one spark among countless others. And still, your spark changes the dark around it. That's something.
I think about the Voyager spacecraft sometimes. How we sent them out into the unknown with golden records, messages for no one, or maybe for everyone. Greetings, a heartbeat. Not because we thought someone would hear, but because it felt important to send it anyway. To say, this is who we are. This is what it feels like to be us. Maybe you do the same thing every day without realizing it, sending out pieces of yourself in small, invisible ways, through kindness, through grief, through quiet resilience. And maybe the universe doesn't need a radio dish to pick that up. Maybe it just does. Maybe that's what space is. A place big enough to hold everything we can't. Not to carry it for us, just to make room. To remind us there's space for what we feel, even if no one else sees it, even if we never speak it out loud. Maybe you've never told anyone the thing that hurts you most, or the thing you hope for so much it feels fragile. But maybe you've still sent it somewhere, into the night, into the quiet. And maybe that was enough. You don't need a response to know you were heard. Sometimes just the act of speaking into the dark is the answer. It means you're still trying, still hoping, still part of it all, still here. I don't think the universe keeps track the way we do. It's not sitting out there with a list of who did what, or measuring your worth by how loud or successful you are. But maybe it notices things, the small stuff, the things we barely realize we're doing. Like the quiet moments when you're kind even though you didn't have to be. Or when you sit with someone who's hurting and you don't have any answers, but you stay anyway.
That kind of thing feels like it matters, not because anyone claps for it, just because it's real. You can feel it in your chest when it happens, and maybe that feeling carries further than we think, out into the world, maybe even beyond it. We know that light from a star keeps traveling long after the star itself is gone. That always stuck with me, because it means something can end, but still leave something behind that moves forward. Maybe we're like that too, not just when we're gone, but even while we're here. You don't have to do something huge, just being honest, being gentle, being yourself. That sends something out, even if no one sees it, even if you don't notice it yourself. I think we get used to the idea that only the loudest things count, the biggest wins, the most dramatic changes. But space doesn't work that way. Gravity, for example, is quiet, but it shapes everything. It doesn't need attention. It just pulls steadily over time, and it keeps things together.
Maybe who you are works like that too. Maybe your steady presence, the way you show up, the way you care, maybe that holds more things in place than you realize. You probably won't get a sign for it, no cosmic message, but sometimes you feel something, don't you? Like a little shift, something lining up, a moment that seems to fit when nothing else has been. And maybe that's not an accident. Maybe it's the universe gently answering back, not fixing anything, just reminding you that you're not alone, that you're part of it and it's part of you. We don't always say things out loud. Sometimes we carry feelings around for years and never share them. Sometimes we let them out quietly when no one else is there. Maybe that's enough. Maybe those thoughts still go somewhere. Maybe they land, or echo, or ripple through space in ways we don't understand yet. I think it's okay not to understand. The point isn't to figure it all out. It's just to feel it. To know there's room for what you carry. That you're allowed to hope, even when it feels like no one's listening. And that when you send something out into the dark, whether it's a wish, a worry, or just a breath, something out there shifts, just a little. Not because you demanded it, but because you mattered enough to be heard. It's strange how just thinking something can change how you feel. You don't even need to say it out loud. Just letting a thought move through you can shift the weight a little. That's what I mean when I say maybe the universe hears us. Not like a person would, not with ears, but maybe it listens in its own way, by reflecting back the energy we send out. Like how standing near a calm river makes you feel calm too. It's not doing anything special. It's just being what it is, and that's enough. Sometimes I wonder if we're built to send things out, like radios, always transmitting, even when we think we're quiet. Maybe when you sit alone and think, I wish things would get better, that feeling moves. Maybe it passes through the air, through the sky, into the soft dark between the stars. Maybe it brushes against other thoughts out there, like little paper boats drifting on a wide ocean. It doesn't need to be dramatic, just real. I think a lot of what we send into the world goes unnoticed, not in a bad way, just people are busy. Everyone's dealing with something. We all miss things sometimes, even the important ones. But the universe isn't rushed.
It doesn't forget the way we do. Maybe that's what makes it a good listener. You could whisper something into the night sky right now, and no one would hear it. No one human anyway. But that doesn't mean it disappears. Maybe it lands somewhere. Maybe it stays. Maybe it matters, even if only because you meant it when you said it. And that's the heart of it, I think. Meaning.
When something is said, or even just felt, with real care behind it, it leaves a trace. It doesn't have to change the world. Just one moment, one mood, one part of you. There's a lot we don't control. That's just how life is. But what you give, how you treat people, what you wish for, what you carry and how you carry it, that's yours, and it means something. Even when no one claps, even when you don't get proof. Some things don't show up in obvious ways. Maybe you felt calm today for no reason. Maybe that was someone else's hope brushing past you. A ripple that started far away. You wouldn't know, but maybe it helped. Just a little. That's how I like to think of it. A quiet web of feeling stretched across space and time. Not magic, just people being human, and the universe being what it is, vast, patient, and full of small connections we'll never fully see. And maybe that's the point. You don't have to see everything for it to matter. You just have to trust that not everything needs to be visible to be real. The same way gravity holds you down without ever asking for attention. The same way the stars keep shining, even when clouds block your view. Some things are steady like that. Some things stay, even when you can't see them. I think that's why people talk about putting things out into the universe. It's not about wishing for stuff and expecting it to appear. It's more like saying, this is where I'm at. This is what I hope for. And letting it go. You don't always get an answer. Most of the time, you won't. But sometimes, something small shifts. A new path opens. A conversation happens at just the right time. You don't even notice it until later, when you look back and think, that's exactly what I needed, and I didn't even know it. It's not about control. It's not about asking and getting. It's about sharing, being honest with yourself, and maybe with whatever's out there. Just enough to feel less alone in it. Because when things are hard, what we need most isn't usually a solution. It's to be seen, to feel like someone, somewhere, understands. And if no one else is around, maybe the stars are. Maybe that's enough sometimes. I don't know what the universe really is. No one does. We can measure it, explore it, map its patterns and behavior, but the heart of it, what it means, what it holds, we're still figuring that out. Still, I keep coming back to this idea, that we're part of it, not separate from it, not standing outside looking in. We're made from it. Every atom in your body came from a star. You're not just looking at the universe, you are the universe, looking back at itself. So maybe when you send something out, a thought, a feeling, a question, it doesn't have far to go. Maybe it just settles into the space inside you that's already connected to everything else, like a message returned to sender, but with more peace than when it left. That might sound strange, but it's helped me feel okay on the nights where I don't really know what I'm doing.
when the world feels too big or too fast or just too much. It reminds me that stillness is allowed, that not having the answers is okay, that maybe I don't need to figure everything out. Maybe I just need to be here, right now, letting whatever's inside me exist without pushing it away or trying to make it smaller, just letting it float for a while. And maybe, in that stillness, the universe hears it, not to fix it, not to send a sign, just to be there with me. That's the part I keep coming back to, not needing anything big, just not being alone in it. Maybe that's all we really want sometimes, to send something out and believe it's received, to know that even if no one replies, the message landed somewhere. It mattered. It's like when you write in a journal or talk out loud in an empty room. You're not expecting a response, but saying it helps. It makes the feeling real. It gives it space to breathe. That space might be in the universe, or maybe it's just in you. Either way, you don't need permission to speak. You don't need proof that anyone hears. The act of saying something, even in your thoughts, is already a kind of release, a step forward. And if the universe happens to be listening, then that's just a quiet bonus. Some nights, when everything's still, I like to think the stars are carrying millions of little messages, all those unspoken hopes and questions, all the things people were too tired or too scared to say out loud, floating between galaxies like fireflies in a dark room. Not lost, just drifting, waiting to become something else. And who knows, maybe that's how change begins. Not with a plan, but with a whisper, a thought that made its way out into the world and softened something, shifted a moment, started a ripple. You won't always know what your voice does when you send it out, but maybe it's not about knowing. Maybe it's about trusting that the act itself is worth something, that being honest, even if no one hears, still matters, because it's real, because it's you, and that's enough. So tonight, if you find yourself sitting with a thought you don't know what to do with, something heavy or quiet or strange, try letting it go. Not to make it disappear, just to let it breathe, let it drift. Send it out even just in your head, into the dark, into the stars, into that wide space where things go when they need room. And maybe, somewhere in that quiet, the universe nods. Not because it has all the answers, but because it heard you. And sometimes, that's all we need. Just to know we're not alone in the asking, not alone in the wondering, not alone in the dark. You're part of all this, the stars, the sky, the silence, the motion, the stillness, the story that never really ends. And maybe, just maybe, it's listening.
If this brought you a moment of wonder, feel free to subscribe and stay connected. There are more quiet stories waiting just beyond the next star. Explore the channel and let curiosity guide you.